WCEG Digital Media Enterprises Network, LLC. This is Thursday, May 7th, 2027, and I am Norman A. Carter Jr., your host for the next hour. The initials WCEG stands for Worldwide Community Empowerment Group. We speak life into the community as we continue to shine a light on injustice and humanity and the audacity of hope. We embrace all of the ideals of the Abrahamic religions, that is, faith in a supreme being, love and respect of family, and love and respect for our neighbors. These basic principles make all of our lives better and less subject to the tyrannical practices that malign religion, sow racial and cultural prejudices, and diminish the importance of families, community stability, and caring for those less fortunate than we. In the event that you have found us by accident, please visit our website, WCEGTalkRadio.com. There, you will not only be able to access live and recorded programming, but also you will find the wealth of topics covered by our diverse group of hosts and producers. We broadcast live over Facebook, LinkedIn, X, YouTube, Roku, Fanbase, and most other popular streaming services. If you view us via Facebook, you will have the ability to both watch and text in your questions and comments. All of our programs are archived on YouTube and can be viewed by anyone at any time. Understand that the views shared by me and my guests are ours alone and do not reflect the views and beliefs and management of WCEG Digital Media Enterprises Incorporated. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are honored with a special guest, the Honorable Judge Jay M. Roth. Judge Roth has over 25 years of dedicated legal experience, legal service, and experience in the judicial and private sectors of our Atlanta community. He currently serves as state court judge in Fulton County, and he's running for re-election. He has served in many other positions that add to his experience as a well-rounded state court judge. He has served as the chief magistrate of Fulton County. He managed 8 full-time magistrate judges and several part-time magistrates in their daily responsibilities. As a magistrate, he had the honor and privilege of sitting by designation in state and superior court. He was also appointed as Fulton County's first environmental court judge. Judge Roth previously served as senior staff attorney to Chief Judge Charles L. Carnes. He is also a certified mediator. Before he was appointed to the bench, he served as Fulton County's solicitor office, As an investigator for Fulton County, he was responsible for investigating criminal misdemeanor violations. He later became an assistant prosecutor for the solicitor's office and conducted both jury and bench trials. Judge Roth received his Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from Penn State University in 1978. He received his Juris Doctorate from Atlanta Law School in 1986, and he has been a member of the Georgia Bar since 1986. Governor Sonny Perdue, a man whom I admire, appointed Judge Roth to succeed Judge Penny Brown Reynolds. He was sworn in on April 29, 2009. He currently lives in Atlanta with his wife, Renee, and they have 3 children, Michael, David, Aaron, and Hannah. Welcome, Judge Roth, to Issues and Answers on the WCEG Network.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you this afternoon as well.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. I guess running for judge is running or for re-election. Will this be your first re-election?
It'll be the fourth time I'll be on the ballot, but it will be the first time that I do have opposition in this election cycle. That is correct.
Okay. And that was my next question. I mean, you have an outstanding uh, record of service. Who would dare compete against you? Can you would you clarify for our audience what types of cases come before you as Fulton County State Judge?
As a state court judge, we deal with misdemeanor cases on the criminal side, and we deal with a number of cases on the civil side as well. In the Superior Court of Fulton County, on the civil side, they deal with divorce cases along with ownership of property. We have no jurisdiction in the state court to hear those types of cases. They are only heard by the Superior Court, but we deal on the civil end with personal injuries, wrongful death, damage to property on the civil end. And on the criminal end, we deal mostly and mainly with cases involving DUI, domestic violence battery, and criminal trespass cases, along with traffic violations as well. On the state court, we don't deal with felonies, which would include murder, rape, robbery, incest, and any of the 7 deadly sins. That would be something that would be specifically dealt with in the Superior Court of Fulton County.
Now, how many judges are in that position in Fulton County?
Presently, we have 12 judges. We had 10, and a number of months ago, the governor created 2 new spots, and 2 new judges were appointed at that point in time. So in total, we have 12.
This may be some of us off the beaten path, but generally your working day. How long is your general working day?
Well, the working day goes from 8:30 to 5. Let's face it. Anything else would tell the voters of Fulton County that we don't do anything, and that's not really true. We
Right.
generally work from 8:30 to 5. Although not all the work that we do is in the office. Not all the work that we do within the community is dealt with from the office. So there are certain times that we handle items, we go to meetings, we're involved in community activities that even the activities that we do could be handled outside of the office as well. But realistically, we work from 8:30 to 5 each and every day.
Well, yeah, that's I do have some concept of, based on my personal experience, about the type of day that you might be involved in. It's
Right. Well, Norman, let me add on something. When we conduct trials don't end at 5 p.m. Trials could go on later. So judges don't complain if a trial goes on till 6 or 6:30 or even 7 o'clock sometimes. And there have been judges who have gone on later than that. They've been here till 8:30 trying to resolve or trying to have final resolution of a case. You may take a little longer than having to bring the jury back. So you may start a little bit later during the course of the day, but that will include the time that you put in later in a case as well. So although I'd like to say 8:30 to 5, it could extend a little bit farther than that.
Sure. And I know that there are conversations that go on and that type of thing that the public may not be totally aware of, and those are also time consuming. You are one of several judicial candidates that I've interviewed lately, and that I've spoken with in recent months. And campaigning for judgeships is an expensive endeavor. You pay the highest qualifying fee of any elective office. Yet you likely have a tougher time running a substantive campaign. Is this something that our Secretary of State needs to look into, or our legislature to change that? It just doesn't seem fair to me.
Well, I don't want to comment on whether it's fair or not, but here's what I will tell you. We are responsible to do what the law says we have to do. And if that law says that we're going to pay the highest amount for a filing fee, then that's just what we have to do. I got to be honest with you. I've never even thought about who I would bring a complaint against or even have a conversation with about reducing the amount. But we do what we're required to do. and we get the job done.
That's flows into another thing is that just campaigning. I mean, you don't see a lot of TV commercials for judges. I mean, that's first of all, that's very, very expensive. Um, so that, I mean, it's difficult getting your message out. I mean, you can't promise a chicken in every pot running for judge.
In reality, we can't promise anything other than
True.
doing what the law says that we're supposed to do. That's about the best that we can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I personally I sit on city council in my city, and our positions, just like yours, is nonpartisan. That's those are difficult waters to tread in. I imagine even for judges especially.
Well, as a nonpartisan candidate, the benefit is in my position, I could seek support from both sides of the aisle. I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeking support from Democrats, I'm seeking support from Republicans, I'm seeking support from conservatives, and I'm seeking support from liberals and independents as well. I don't sit on one side of the aisle
True.
or the other. And as a judge, you wouldn't want me to sit on one side of the aisle or the other. So I'm seeking support across the board.
Excellent. And I noticed your background, and I think that we need to probably go back to that on your bio, because you seem to have a very, reading your bio, well-rounded background. And I don't know whether you notice it or not, but I'm a former police officer, and finding a judge that's been able to work in varied positions in varied disciplines uh, is really an asset. So, would you like to speak to that?
I can't agree with you more than what you just set out. I
Okay.
believe that my experience in all aspects and all avenues here in the state court of Fulton County. I actually started as a clerk in the state court, taking papers in, then moved to the solicitor's office as an investigator. Then from that office, I was appointed to be an assistant solicitor. So I moved up, and I've continuously moved up the ladder, as they say, from one position to the other, using what I have learned in the previous position to what it is my new position would entail. And I believe that experience, you can't leave that behind. I believe that has helped me throughout my judicial experience. It made me a fair judge because I understood where people were coming from at a different level. I understood what was necessary as I made my way to the next level, and I continue to do so. I don't stop learning just because I became a state court judge. I learn
Mm-hmm.
every day something new. And that's because talking with individuals, talking with folks, I continuously learn in my position. I got to be honest with you, I don't intend on going anywhere else other than the state court of Fulton County. So I'm not campaigning for another spot. But the experience that I've obtained over the years is invaluable.
I was I looked with interest, especially in light of recent events, that you served as the first environmental uh, court judge. And I say this on the heels of the recent passing of Ted Turner, who was known for his involvement in environmental causes.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't know of anyone else who's been in that position.
Well, the position was created, two judges, Charlie Carnes, along with Al Thompson, who was also a chief judge here in the state court of Fulton County for years. And Al was a judge here on the state court for years. And the two of them created the spot to which I was able to step into. And basically, we were dealing with tires being dumped on certain
Okay.
locations, old tires, refrigerators, freezers being left at other locations. Actually, we dealt with doggy court at that point in time, as well as an environmental court issue. So we were dealing with a lot of the community issues that never made their way to the state court of Fulton County, or never made their way to the magistrate court of Fulton County before they were dealt with. So while we called it the environmental court, it had a lot of different things that it was dealing with during that period of time as well. We didn't really have a courtroom. We met at the North
Okay.
Annex. We met at the North Annex and we met at the South Annex. Those are the two locations that we met at. Officers came to court, presented their case based on the citations that they had drafted and issued against individuals. And we did our best to not so much to penalize folks, but to resolve the issues that were brought before the court.
Very, very interesting. With nearly 30 years of experience, me in law enforcement, I know that judgeships are honorable but position, but it's a position that has built-in stress factors. I'm guessing that you are obviously ready for another 4 years, but doesn't that require a lot of buy-in from your family?
My family is 100% behind me, no matter what it is that I do. And I can't appreciate the support that they have given me in this election and any previous election that I've gone through, whether it had opposition or not.
Okay.
So they've always been supportive of me. They know that I love what I do, and they would support anything that I loved as much as being a state court judge. As, let me say this to you, as a judge, forgetting about a state court judge, but it just happens to be the position I'm in. And they, anything that would make me happy would make them happy as well.
Yeah, and we need to do something about getting judges a higher place on the ballot. I think that uh, you traditionally occupy a low place on the ballot, and people don't take this as seriously as they should. And uh, I know for a fact that we need to take judgeships a little bit more seriously than people do right now. They're very, very important.
Norman, I've listened to you on some of your tapes of previous shows. I know how much elections are important to you. I know you've mentioned them more than once on many of your shows. So I know it is important to you. I can't agree more with you that judges need to be a little higher up on the ballot. And our message basically to many of the folks is you have to go through the entire ballot. Every vote counts for every individual on the ballot. And again, it doesn't matter to me whether you're on the Democratic ballot or you're on the Republican ballot or you're on the nonpartisan ballot. You have to be able to get to the point where you're getting to vote for these individuals. And I think the farther down the names are, the less chance you have that folks are going to make it through the ballot. And it is important. And I'll be honest with you as well. One of the reasons I came on your show, okay, is the fact that not only are we so far down on the ballot, most folks don't even know who judges are. They just see their names on the ballot. So unless you're in front of me, unless you come into the courtroom and see who I am and learn about me from that aspect, many folks, and I'm going to say most folks, don't even know who the judges are that are running. And again, one of the reasons I'm here, you know the problems that judges have coming on shows like this. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but it's important for folks to see who I am, to get to know me, and I appreciate being here and on your show because of that.
Fantastic, fantastic. I think this is the part where I ask you to get into what sets you apart. Not that we're going to get negative about any candidate, but what sets you apart from that makes you the better choice for the position you're running for as a state court judge?
It's a great question. Well, I am not going to speak negative about my opponent. Okay. I'm just not going to do that. Don't expect me to. And it wouldn't be judicial for me to do that. But what I will say, and we've talked about it just a few minutes ago, is my experience on the bench. Okay. As a judge, we hear cases from individuals. And we have to make decisions based on the facts that are presented to us, the law that's set out on the books, and we have to make the decisions from that perspective. I don't make recommendations to the court. I am the court, basically. Recommendations are made to me by both sides. The prosecutor makes a recommendation. Defense counsel then comes in, makes a recommendation as well. And then I have, in all honesty, many judges have seconds to decide what is in the best interest of the community as a whole in those recommendations. As a police officer, you've probably stood before the court and heard those recommendations many times. And then the court has to make the decision whether that's in the best interest of the defendant, whether it's in the best interest of the state and the community as a whole. The experience that I have, the experience that I've obtained over the years, I believe gives me a step up on my opponent. The fairness that I have shown over the years, you just don't obtain that in a day. That takes time to be able to listen to the facts, stay level-headed along the way, not going to one side, be biased to one side or the other. That takes time. And I believe the experience that I've had over the years has given me the advantage of running for judge and being reelected to the position that I'm in.
One thing I will say, and I'm not trying to expand your head anymore, but as one with all the experience that you have, that you do have, it's commendable to me that you're not taking this reelection for granted. You're not resting on your laurels. You're actually reaching out to the public, and I know that as a judge that's difficult to do, but I do commend you for taking the opportunity to share your thoughts and your experience with us.
And once again, I appreciate the radio show for allowing me to do that. Penny Rogers, along with yourself, I appreciate the opportunity of having folks getting to know who I am today.
Yeah, we do believe at this station that judgeships are very, very, very important and an integral part of lives in our communities that is far too often taken for granted. So, Your Honor, I really appreciate your being here. And if you have any closing remarks you'd like to share with us, please do that now, if you like.
Well, number one, once again, I appreciate being here. I am running for the State Court of Fulton County. I've been a state court judge for 16 years. Sitting here in court, here's what I have learned. I've learned that the court system should be open and is open to every individual, no matter your economic or social status. Okay? The most poorest person can come into court and have their case heard. The richest corporation can come into our courts and have their case heard as well. Every individual who comes into our court is dealt with respect and dignity. It doesn't matter whether you come in through the front door or you come in through our jail door, okay? You are treated with respect. And lastly, in our courts, there's no place for bias or prejudice. And that is what we practice each and every day. Justice is the bottom line in Fulton County. Justice is the bottom line in our court. And got to be honest, if I'm reelected to this spot, I will serve the citizens of Fulton County and bring justice to the citizens of Fulton County as well. Thank you for having us.
Yes, Your Honor. Before we leave, do you have a website or contact information that the public can use?
I do, and I didn't know if that was proper for me to say, because again, it's not like I'm campaigning and I don't want to campaign. Sure. However, if you want to learn more about me, you can do so at judgejroth.com.
Thank you so much, Your Honor, for joining us. We really, really appreciate your being here. Thank you so much, sir.
Well, Norman, thank you for having me here today. I appreciate all that you do. And again, I've watched you. I appreciate all that you do in the community. I question that eagle. I didn't notice that eagles. Is that a blanket behind me?
It's a little pillow.
There you go. All right. I did notice that. And as I told you early on, I'm not a fan of Pennsylvania at all. I'm down here now in Atlanta, and we support the Braves and the Falcons, and we go from there. So again, thanks for having me. And tell Ms. Rogers I appreciate her setting this up for me as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, as we just briefly spoke about with the judge many times, we are in voting season in America. Primary elections are occurring right now, right now. Uh, Here in Georgia, our primary elections end tomorrow. The early voting ends tomorrow, and the actual election day is coming up on May 19th. Uh, in a few short months, we're going to be faced with general elections throughout this country based on world events and recent mean spiritedness being engaged by all major political parties. One would think that voter apathy and voter ignorance were far behind us, but that is not the case. First, let me give you a recent example. 2 weeks ago, Honorable Congressman David Scott passed away. He represented Georgia's 13th congressional district. He served in the Georgia House of Representatives from 1975 to 1983 and in the Georgia State Senate from 1983 to 2003. He served as U.S. Representative for Georgia's 13th congressional district from 2003 until his death in 2026. Days before his death, I received campaign literature from his opponent, or a PAC supporting his opponent for this current primary season. The literature came from a political action committee named Protect Progress. Protect Progress mocked his 50 years of service and mocked his being 80 years of age. That really got to me. Now, to the jackasses who put out this type of garbage of this group, being a senior in age is not a disqualifying factor for any elective office in this country. Now, Protect Progress. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Protect Progress supports candidates who will support them in their quest to expand the influence of cryptocurrency into our economic lives. Do you know what cryptocurrency is? By definition, cryptocurrency means hidden or secret. It's a system run by computers. Your money is not insured. No person is accountable. You know, con artist Bernie Madoff would be proud of the fact that such a nebulous entity had the gall, would have the gall to support political candidates who are so hungry for elective office that they would seek the support of those seeking to wreck our economic system. Now, on uh, the next day of the death of the Honorable Congressman David Scott, there were numerous postings on the right-wing news site Newsmax. This is not something somebody told me. This just popped up. You know, when you go to Facebook and stuff pops up, this popped up. Newsmax, which joked about his death. There were a whole list of unsavory remarks from different people. And I'm not going to repeat any of them to dignify them on this program. But I will say this. Marcy Scott, the daughter of the late U.S. Representative David Scott, has announced that she will run in the special election to fill the seat in Georgia's 13th congressional district. Personally, I hope she wins. I encourage all in the 13th Congressional District to vote for her. We Americans, especially we African Americans, need to stop listening to morons who still tell us our votes don't matter, while at the same time, the federal government and Supreme Court are doing all they can to dissuade us from voting. And this is not just about African Americans. Carrying Caucasians peacefully protesting have been shot down by immigration and customs enforcement agents. We call them ICE, and they're just as cold. And they have done this with the support and protection of our federal government. It is an abomination that during this early voting season in Georgia, that less than 10% of eligible voters have voted. Must I repeat the poem, First They Came Again? Are you that thick-headed or brain numb that you cannot see that the freedoms you have taken for granted for so long are not only being eroded, but also obliterated? Peaceful protests in jeopardy. Right to vote and elect people who represent your community in jeopardy. Freedom from government prosecution for speaking truth to power is threatened every day by the president and his Justice Department. The right to a free and unabridged education, it's in the process of being taken away. Book bans, erasing any mention of slavery, of the near genocide of the Native Americans, all being erased right now. And they're going to call it education? Or is it propaganda? Last week, I watched a documentary about the Holocaust. Now, I know that too many of you won't give 2 cents to watch a program about the Holocaust or listen to any conversation about it. That is merely selfish ignorance that will eventually jeopardize your future and future generations. History can be similar to eating something that does not agree with you. It can keep on repeating itself unless you learn and change your behavior. Now, this documentary ended with a brief statement from Marion Tursky. Marion Tursky was a Holocaust survivor. He experienced 2 death marches and spent a long time in the Auschwitz death camp. Here is what he said, quote, "Sometimes I'm asked, what did you feel when you were liberated?" End quote. He responded, quote, "Auschwitz did not fall from the sky. It comes step by step. Evil comes step by step. And therefore, you shouldn't feel indifferent." End quote. He then quoted from a poem by Boleslaw Taborski. Quote, "The most important thing is compassion. Its absence dehumanizes. Take the perpetrators of the Holocaust, the devil's servants on earth. They pretended to be humans, nay, superhumans. They were nothing. They knew not what compassion is." End quote. Today, excuse me, we in Georgia and in this country are faced with compassionless leaders. Have you heard the political campaign commercials in Georgia? Do you understand what it means to be deported or departed? Do you understand what it means to be deported or departed? Do you know what departed means? White House border czar Tom Homan on Tuesday vowed to flood the zone with immigration officers in jurisdictions which passed legislation limiting cooperation with federal government. In addition, he stated, you will see collateral arrest increase in these areas. You see more agents in your neighborhoods because you forced us into this position. Wow. Wow. Excuse me. Let me stop there and put a period on it right there. Because those of you who listen to this program in 2001 about the American apocalypse, we talked about this, how this was the philosophy of the Nazis. Either you conform or you die. This is America. Collateral arrest means anyone who happens, no, he added, let me repeat this. You will see collateral arrest increase in these areas. You see more agents in your neighborhoods because you're focused. You forced us into this position. Collateral arrest means anyone who happens to be in the area at the time. This is police state mentality. This is totally un-American. Yet the electorate has been stupefied into political lethargy. Over the past 2 years, the electorate has been kicked in the teeth so much that rather than America the beautiful, we have become the ugly submissives. You are silent when a heroic and indefatigable public servant dies and then is ridiculed, like the Honorable Congressman David Scott. You are silent with people when people are shot down like deer in hunting season. You are silent when your president orchestrates a needless war that has no reasonable goal as thousands are killed in what this president of the United States called an excursion. You know something? Let me stop there for a minute. He's called this an excursion, this bombing and killing of people in Iran. I am surprised that with all the educated media in this country, no one has called him out on that excursion. Now, focus on that word. What he has done and is doing in Iran, he calls an excursion. This is a man who calls every African American he does not like low IQ. Yet he cannot discern the difference between excursion and an incursion. An excursion is a pleasant trip. People die in an incursion. But none of this matters to a president who caters to the ignorant and non-critical thinkers. They nod their bobbling heads to anything he says or does as long as he continues to demean brown and black people and enriches the wealthy. Excursion. Hold on to that thought. Excursion. The next time you hear him call a black person low IQ, ask him to explain and define excursion. This supposed college graduate. Now, I go back to the late Marion Tursky, Holocaust survivor, when he says, we cannot be indifferent. We cannot be apathetic facilitators to a tyrannical takeover of this country by oligarchs and racists. Racist, you say? Well, if you are Mongolian or Muslim in this state, you better watch out. The man tells you this in a commercial on television. It's repeated here in Georgia every single day. What annoys me, black people, and I'm talking to African Americans, is that not one of you have I heard say anything about that commercial. But if he says something about black people, oh my goodness, you want to run to DC and have a million-man march. But because he's talking about Mongolians and Muslims, you don't want to have anything to do with. You think it's not important. First, they came. Rick Jackson, that guy, wants to do to you what America and Catholics did to the original indigenous people of this country. First, they came. Poem by Lutheran pastor Martin Niemöller. Read it. Realize that we are all in this together. And it's time to stop purposely segregating ourselves. Let me read that again. It's time to stop purposely segregating ourselves and begin to collectively work together to preserve our democracy. It's not hyperbole to say our democracy is in jeopardy. It's time to stop being indifferent to the sufferings of those around us. If we don't, they will become we. Like a bad meal, history will repeat itself and we will have only ourselves to blame. I thank you for joining me on this installment of Issues and Answers. I'd like to thank our guest, the Honorable Judge Jay Roth, for joining us and informing us a little bit more about his candidacy. And again, I want to thank all of you for joining us on each installment of Issues and Answers. We may not always be coming to you on Thursday. Our normal days are Mondays, but this is special. And I always enjoy being with you. And I look forward to your comments and questions on Facebook. We'll post our programs on Facebook and on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. You can find us. And please, your comments, even if they're negative, are appreciated because that's how we get better. Iron sharpens iron. So thank you all. And remember, here in Georgia, early voting stops tomorrow. Election day is May 19th. And then we have the big election coming up in November. So until the next time, folks, take it light. Have yourself a good day. Hug someone, love someone. Enjoy yourself. Take care and thank you, and good evening.